What's going on, guys? This is A9J Freak here. I have just a kind of a special video show for you guys this week. Or, well, I'm not really posting this in a week series, but, you know, just showing you guys something that was pretty cool to happen. It came up completely out of the blue. I hope you guys really enjoy it. What's going on in this video is I had a chance to meet with a guy named Sam from Trade Me for Hope. And basically, it's kind of like the greater than story. Like, what would you do for a red paperclip? And the guy trades up. So, basically, is what Sam's doing. Please excuse my dog's barking. So, basically, is what the Trade Me for Hope is that he started out with a penny, said, what would you trade me for a penny? And to tell your story. Somebody gave him 2 dimes, told him his story, and they told him their story. And he's even said he's had people give him lyrics to songs to tell their story, to give poems, that kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be money. But I traded him for $1 for 2. He had 2 dimes, and I traded 2 dimes for $1. So, or the vice versa, however you want to say it. So I guess hope you guys enjoy this video.
I've been doing this Trade Me for Hope, and just taking a minute to explain a little bit about what that is, and got an opportunity to meet a couple people today and make that trade. So I started Trade Me for Hope just kind of as a something to try to meet people, get to know people. As a counselor, I've learned that everybody has a story. Everybody has some something to share about themselves and something they've learned through life. And just trying to find out what gives people hope. So I started with a penny. I got 2 dimes, and now Dan here has traded me for $1. So, you know, trading something kind of along the bigger, better kind of activity to have a, you know, to get something bigger, but also to hear the stories of hope. So I'm here with Dan, and he's going to share his story with me too, as we you know, kind of make this trade. So tell me a little about yourself, man.
Okay, so as far as like what happened, how I ended up in this situation, it started 2 years ago. I'll try to give you a short version of
Sure.
It started 2 years ago. I fell on the stairs, landed on my L4, L5 area. After that, doctors can't explain why. Nobody knows why this happened, but I have been diagnosed with several neurological conditions after that. So it's like almost like it flipped the switch. Nobody knows why though, and that's the thing that flabbergasts me. You know, it's like I can't tell you why. Nobody, my neurologist that's over at Chicago, who's well renowned, can't tell you why. The guy that studied at Mayo Clinic can't tell you why. And at first it was a very hard pill to swallow, because instantly I think of, I'm lesser of a man now. I walk with a cane. I'm a fall risk. I feel like I'm 8 years old. And it's very hard. I'm sorry, I'm being a little emotional. I do this a lot by myself, but it's different telling an actual human being. But what happened is, going through that, I became very depressed. As I told you, got to a point where I wanted to take my own life. And then through the help and support through my lovely camerawoman over there, with her actually telling me, look, you're being selfish. Her, you know, and that you need to think about me. What kind of position does that leave me in? Think of what I would think of if I found you like that. And it kind of got me thinking. And you know, me being a believer in Christ, I would ask myself, why? God, why did you do this? Have you forgotten about me? Do you hear what I'm asking you? And, you know, just at first I was asking for just a miracle. And then somewhere along the line, so a miracle did happen. I just don't know. I don't know exactly when it happened, other than it occurred to me that I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. even through talking to my buddy and, realizing I'm not alone, he'd say, hey, brother, man, I'm there for you. If you need to talk, if you feel like we call it our jumping off point. He's like, hey, man, you need to talk to somebody, give me a call. Don't hesitate, day or night. And you still felt alone. But somewhere between point A and point B, and I can't explain, I just came to the realization that, you know what? If we believe in a God, and I do, it'd be ignorant to say that you don't believe in Satan. If you don't acknowledge at least the existence of one, if you acknowledge the existence of one, you have to acknowledge the existence of the other. So what I'm going through right now is obviously not of God. He obviously didn't do this to punish me. It was kind of like you're playing a chess game. I look at life like a big chess game. So I'm playing chess, I guess, against the devil. And right now he's got me right where he wants me. And I came to that point was like, you know what? You're not going to put me down. Because he took me out of the game. Like, wow. I didn't go to church anymore. Hardly read my Bible. Hardly did, stuff for the church. Like, I was very active before, and I would preach and fill in for my pastor at our church at the time. And I would do like a bunch of what I thought was cool stuff for God, and I would constantly tell people how great God is. One thing my wife would always say, if Dan, you're gonna be his friend, and he's gonna tell you about Jesus. That's the one thing that she'd always say, because I'd be like, hey babe, guess what? I told somebody about Christ today, and she'd be like, of course you did. And so I realized at that point that, he took me out of the game. I need to stop feeling sorry for myself. And then a lot of cool things started to happen. I started seeing God work in my life more than I did before. And that was like, I'm like, all right, God, I know you got my back, And I know that you understand, because, he was crucified on the cross, he understands physical pain.
Sure.
The emotional pain, because even Jesus cried out, Lord, why have you forsaken me? So at that moment, he knew he was alone. So he knows how that feels. So I'm like, you know what? You've done everything I'm already going through. So you get it. And that's when I started saying, wow, this is actually kind of cool in a way. And then, I still dealt with the health issues, but I looked at it from a different point of perspective, I guess you could say. Every little health problem wasn't like this big, blow up thing. Easier said than done when it comes to me. My wife will tell you I'm very melodramatic. Even though it feels like it's a huge deal. Like a prime example is, I just got told recently I have to walk with a walker, because of my balance being a problem, my legs being shaky. And at first I'm staring at it, because my uncle has a walker that used to be my grandmother's, and I modified it so I can use it on my hardwood floors while I scratch on my floor, and then I ordered, one that I can use outside. And I'm staring at that walker, and I'm pissed, I'm looking at it like it's my enemy, And then I start using it, and I'm complaining about it. I'm like, man, this is weird, I'm telling my uncle, who's in a wheelchair, mind you, who lives with us. I know it's kind of like bits and pieces of the story, kind of like all balled into one, because
Sure.
Otherwise we'd be here forever. But it's like, I'm looking at my uncle who's in a wheelchair, mind you, and I'm complaining about having to use a walker. And he uses a walker to get back and forth, but it's for a short brief time.
Right. And otherwise he's in the wheelchair. But I'm
complaining about me being able to walk with the aid of a walker, but somebody who's bound in a wheelchair is sitting there telling me, hey, it's not that bad when you get used to it. He's encouraging me, but he's in a wheelchair. And it's like, for a moment yesterday, I thought, shame on me. Shame on me for complaining about that. Because if I'm complaining about it, how does that make him feel?
Sure.
And we get wrapped up in these moments of selfishness. And I realized that walking with this walker, I actually kind of liked it, because I could walk a little bit faster. I could, do stuff easier. Yeah, it's kind of like a learning curve, and I hate change. But, you know, it's...
Like most of us do.
Right, exactly. But it kind of made me a little excited, you know. What was it, yesterday? And of course I was making jokes about it. I was like, oh, around the right corner, here comes bouncing buddy. as I'm going around. And I started to enjoy it. It was easier than walking with this. You know, I felt more stable. You know, I could actually lean on it kind of thing and use it. And
it's interesting because what you viewed at first as a weakness, what you viewed as a, like, you know, I don't want any part of this, helped you become stronger.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, that's to me, that's what hope is all about. I mean, that's what this is kind of why I'm doing this, is that I think that it's because of our weakness, because of our trials, because of our struggles in life. If we can find that purpose, we talked about that earlier. If we can find that purpose in it, if we can find where there's a meaning behind it, and my experience has been when I start to understand my weaknesses, or as I see other people working through their weaknesses and starting to find, instead of focusing on what they've lost or what they don't have that they wanted, or, you know, all those kinds of things, when they can realize that there's still something there, not only that they can do or that they can be, but that because of their experience, they actually have a new perspective, a new, you know, and that's probably just one small one of just being able to say, hey, you know, I didn't want this thing, but actually I'm more mobile now that I have it than I was before. And my guess is that there's probably bigger pictures of those throughout your life as well.
Right. Like I said, we'd be here forever if I told you every little thing. I'm trying to give you a quick version. But, I mean, I have learned, through this whole process, I can say confidently right now that my faith is in God stronger than it ever has been. And I'm reassured. There's moments in my life, like we bought a house recently. Now, my wife likes purple. First thing that's there's purple flowers. You know, this was in the winter time that we moved, so it wasn't until spring until we found out. And it's kind of like living in Jurassic Park, because the lady that owned it before us was like a super florist. And it was like, my wife would be like, oh, look, there's a purple flower. Awesome. You know, I love these flowers. I'm like, God, what about me? So, you know, I love tiger lilies. Around all the garage, there's tiger lilies. And I'm like, oh, you thought of me. How cool is that? And I love cardinals, too. There's a cardinal that, like, lives around our area that just hangs out in our trees. And I'm like, you thought of me? That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. You know, I know to some people that may seem kind of weird. But to me, it's like, the standing in awe, you know, of his creation. You know, I have 2 dogs that God's given me. Literally, one followed her nephews home from school. The other one found my wife when she was babysitting.
I appreciate you sharing with me, and there's a couple of things that I heard. I mean, kind of one of the first things that I heard was, you know, that you were in a hard place, really hard place. You weren't where you wanted to be, or quite frankly where you felt you should be. It wasn't your fault that you were there. It was unfair. It was, I mean, any number of those descriptions. But you know, it's interesting that you know, I've always said I feel like people, you know, sometimes we need a hug, sometimes we need a pat in the back and go get them, you know, sometimes we need a swift kick in the pants, and it kind of sounds like it was the latter that actually helped you. You know, your wife said, you know, you're being selfish. No, I think it's important to recognize too that not everybody that's having suicidal thoughts that would be the right approach for them, but it was the right one for you. And it helped you kind of back up and say, okay, well, what is my purpose now? I mean, you stopped it sounds to me like you kind of stopped focusing on yourself and started to change your focus to other things, God, to others. It sounds like you found a lot that you were still able to do too, a lot that you could still accomplish. And certainly, I'm hearing too that you had numerous experiences where you felt that God was listening to you.
Unbeknownst to me,
yeah.
It's like my new slogan is I'm disabled, I'm not dead. So, you know, it's this whole thing right here that we call life is an experience. You know, for you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. Jesus even said that this whole world will give you nothing but heartache, and I'm finding that to be true. But accepting that.
Yeah.
You know, because from my viewpoint is, this is not permanent. Here's not permanent. Up there is permanent. You know, so.
Well, you know, I love the word acceptance. I'm actually studying a modality right now that has acceptance as part of it. ACT, acceptance commitment therapy. And acceptance doesn't mean that I invite it in, that I'm excited to have it, and that, hey, stick around for a while. Acceptance means I accept that it's going to come and go. I accept there's nothing I can do. There's so much that is outside my control that I have to learn to accept that which is outside of my control. Right. Not saying that I want it or that I'm excited that, you know, hey, I'm depressed today. This is wonderful, you know. Right. But accept that there are going to be days where I'm feeling depressed. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that I have to give up on all my dreams. It doesn't mean that I have to give up on everything. And I can learn. And this is, like you were saying, this whole life experience is about learning, I think. I can learn how to still do what's important to me. I still can be engaged. My guess is, although you have a lot of limitations that you didn't have before, a lot of the things that you did before in concept, maybe not in the same way, but in concept, you could still be giving a lot to the church, and it sounds like you do. I mean, you can still be doing a lot of the things. You can't do it in the way that you did it before. Right. But just you have to learn a new way to do it. Right. To me, that's what hope is all about. You know. So I appreciate getting to know you and your wife, and it's been a great morning, and certainly we'll keep in touch. And
yes, definitely.
Thanks for sharing, man.
Anytime you want to hang out, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to have you back on to do more YouTube stuff too.
Absolutely. Maybe as things progress with Trade Me for Hope, maybe it'll actually become something interesting to others. And,
yeah, why not? I mean,
we'll see where it goes.
I find it fascinating myself.
Sweet. Well, thank you.
I just want to thank Sam for coming on the show, first of all. Thank you for letting me record this for my vlog. I appreciate it. Anytime you want to come on the 89J Freak vlog, you're more than welcome. I'm going to try and get you guys a link in the description so you guys can contact Sam if you want to tell your story and share your story and do that, because he's definitely very passionate about what's going on right now. You can tell he enjoys what he's doing. And honestly, I don't know if you know this, Sam, but part of you meeting with me has really honestly made my dreams come true, in the sense of, you know, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what I'm passionate about, is vlogging like this and sharing with people on what's going on in my life, whether it be the same repetitiveness or not. You know, I really do enjoy sharing my story, and also I want to have you come back here and share your story. I know it may not be a life with a disability, but to share your story on how you came about doing this, doing the greater than, well, let's just call it the greater than trade, and how about it came about, what made you come up with it, those kinds of things. Like, again, I really look forward to meeting with you and having another sit down. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one.